India.
Good morning, you're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting this edition of the news. Our top stories first. US military fighter aircraft shoots down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. Washington calls the balloon a clear violation of US sovereignty. China denies accusations of spying, says the flight of a Chinese airship over the United States is a force majeure accident. Arctic blast grips US northeast, pushing temperatures to previously low levels across the region. New Hampshire's Mount Washington records minus 79 degrees Celsius. US National Weather Service calls the temperatures life-endangering. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy warns Battlefront getting tougher, says Russian forces are slowly gaining ground in the Donbas region and circling the city of Bakhmut, north of Donetsk. Chile requests international support to fight devastating forest fires, destroying some 40,000 hectares and leaving 22 people dead. Interior Minister Carolina Toja says they are asking for support from Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay. Massive protests against judicial reform plans by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's new government. Critics say reforms threaten democratic checks on ministers by the courts. Sri Lanka President says completing prerequisites for $2.9 billion IMF support can become a developed country by 2048 if we work and move forward in a united and planned manner, envisioning peace and reconciliation, says President Ranil Wickremesinghe. And in sports, India to face Bangladesh in the SAFF Under-20 Women's Championship. Team India will try to maintain the winning streak after defeating Bhutan in the previous match. The first G20 Employment Working Group meeting has been wrapped up in Rajasthan's Jodhpur. Member countries and related global institutions have shown interest in and commitment towards constructively working towards the objective of 3 priority areas set by the Indian presidency. India is hosting this year's G20 summit later this year. We get to the details.
The first G20 Employment Working Group concluded in Jodhpur on Saturday, with all G20 countries showing interest and commitment in constructively working towards the objective of the 3 priority areas of addressing global skill gaps, gig and platform economy, and social protection and sustainable financing of social security, said by the Indian presidency. The 3-day meeting of the G20 Employment Working Group of the Indian presidency, led by Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India, has the mandate of addressing priorities of labour, employment and social issues for strong, sustainable, balanced and job-rich growth for all. The issue of sustainable financing of social security was discussed during the sessions of the day. International organizations ILO, OECD, ISSA jointly highlighted the current and emerging challenges in social protection. They also focused on the overall objective and different structures available for sustainable financing. The World Bank in its presentation highlighted the need for universal social protection. This was followed by country-wise interventions and open discussions where participating countries detailed the existing conditions and legal framework for providing social security in their respective countries. The sessions concluded with encouraging remarks by Employment Working Group's co-chairs Indonesia and Brazil. G20 EWG Chair and Secretary of the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Aarti Ahuja, in her concluding remarks, thanked all the G20 delegates and participants, including international organizations, for their contribution and engagement in the discussions.
हमारा जो दूसरा वर्किंग ग्रुप है वो गुवाहाटी में होगा। गुवाहाटी और से लेकर हमारा लास्ट होगा मिनिस्ट्रियल वर्किंग ग्रुप जो कि इंदौर में होगा जुलाई में। तो अब से लेके तब तक हमें अब हमारी चेष्टा रहेगी कि हम एक कंसेंसस बिल्ड करें। G20 में जो भी होता है वो कंसेंसस से ही होता है।
Delegates who participated in the G20 Employment Working Group meeting shared their overwhelming experience of their heritage walk in the streets of the old city.
I'm really humbled by the hospitality of the Indian government. We were welcomed with open arms since we were received at the Delhi airport and then with our transit to Jodhpur, and then I was exposed to so much culture in one day. It was it's really amazing. I had the opportunity to have this cultural event, attend this cultural event as part of the G20 hospitality team, and it was amazing. The choreography is amazing. The folklore is amazing. I also had the opportunity to meet with so many different individuals coming from so many different backgrounds. I know in the UAE that we have so many Indian population, but the kind of culture that I have experienced here in Rajasthan is completely different than what I am used to.
I have to say that the thing that has struck me most about the local culture is the sense of hospitality. And not just about the organizers, but everybody I have met, including in this morning's Heritage Walk, was really very, very friendly and very welcoming. And that was not a surprise, but a confirmation of what I already knew. And then I have to say that the walk was fantastic, and yesterday's show, music and dance was really spectacular.
The theme of India's G20 presidency, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or One Earth, One Family, One Future, is particularly fitting as the world comes together to discuss the interconnectedness of economies and peoples.
The consensus that emerged at the end of the first employment working group meeting of the G20 under India's presidency here in Jodhpur was that there is an urgent need to address the global skills gap. For that, mapping of global skills needs to be done, which each country needs to do at their level. But there needs to be a collaborative effort, probably a world portal or a global portal to map those skills. Therefore, to decide a strategy to address this challenge. Likewise, the issue of sustainable financing for social security came up, especially for the gig and platform economy and that workforce. With cameraman YK Loknath, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Jodhpur.
The first G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting under India's presidency will be held in Bengaluru from today till 7th of February. The delegates from G20 countries and guest countries will be part of the working group. In addition, leading international organizations such as the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, United National Development Programme, International Energy Agency, Clean Energy Ministerial and Inter-Solar Alliance, among others, will send their representatives for the meeting. Technology gaps in energy transition, low-cost financing for energy transition, energy security and diversified supply chain, industrial low-carbon transition and fuel for the future are the priority areas set for the working group discussion. Delegates will visit Infosys Green Building campus in Bengaluru and the Mega Solar Park in Pavagada as a testimony to India's push towards the renewable sector and also efforts to mitigate climate change. The delegates will also get to experience the rich cultural heritage, art and also culture and cuisine of Karnataka. The government has cleared the collegium's December 13, 2022 recommendation wherein it had decided to appoint 5 new judges to the Supreme Court. Kiran Rijiju, Union Minister for Law and Justice, has said, and I quote, "As per the provisions under the Constitution of India, Honorable President of India has appointed the Chief Justices and judges of the High Courts as judges of the Supreme Court. Justice Pankaj Mithal, Chief Justice Rajasthan High Court, Justice Sanjay Karol, Chief Justice Patna High Court, Justice P.V. Sanjay Kumar, Chief Justice Manipur High Court, Justice Ehsanuddin Amanullah, Judge Patna High Court, Justice Manoj Misra, Judge Allahabad High Court. These are the names, and Kiran Rijiju has extended his best wishes to all of them. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said that the country is on the path of rapid transformation into a developed nation, and Karnataka is the jewel that would drive that change. Speaking to journalists in Bengaluru on Saturday, Union Minister said that the Union Budget 2023-24 was the first step towards becoming a developed nation.
India, which has over the last 9 years grown from the 10th largest economy to the 5th largest, and in the next 4 or 5 years will become the 3rd largest economy in the world, is now set for better and brighter future for every Indian. जहाँ तक मैं समझता हूँ जनता मोदी जी के साथ है, भाजपा के साथ है। उनको विश्वास है कि अगर किसी ने कुछ गलत काम किया हो तो उस पे मोदी जी सख्त कार्रवाई करेंगे।
Earlier, chairing a post-budget stakeholders interaction in Mumbai, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that India has reached double-digit growth because people absorbed good policies and relief provided by the government.
We want to sustain that recovery, sustain that growth, which has kept India at the good level of growing, which no other country except for one has managed to reach. And the credit goes to the people of India for somehow absorbing all the little help which the government has come up with, either in the form of relief or in the form of a policy between 2020 and today. And that recovery momentum should not be lost, and therefore it was an express desire of the Prime Minister that the public capital expenditure should be kept up, and that is why it has reached double-digit 10 lakh crores.
She further said that despite the challenging times that the country is facing recently, in fact, fiscal consolidation and balanced growth have been kept in mind while making the budget.
To the credit of the team, I will say that even despite these challenging circumstances and also these difficult times, fiscal consolidation has been kept in mind and also serviced. Therefore, growth on one side, inclusive growth mainly, and fiscal consolidation, both have been well established in this budget, and therefore Mumbai should really be liking it.
The minister said that India's macroeconomic fundamentals or its economic image haven't been affected by Adani Group's withdrawal of its 20,000 crore rupees FPO. She was addressing a post-budget press conference in Mumbai. The finance minister cited the inflow of forex reserves to prove that India's reputation as a market is intact on the global scale. She said in the last 2 days alone, $8 billion as forex came in. Also, she further said that FPOs come and go and that such fluctuations do occur across markets.
The foreign exchange reserve in the last 2 days has gone up by 8 billion. So our macroeconomic fundamentals or our economy's image, none of which has been affected. Yes, FPOs come in, FIS come out, get out. These fluctuations are there in every market. But the fact that we have had 8 billions come in this last few days proves that the perception about India and in its inherent strengths is intact.
Indian market regulator, Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has said that it is committed to ensuring market integrity and its structured strength amid the escalating crisis at Adani Group. Also in a statement, SEBI said that during the past week, unusual price movement was observed in stocks of a business conglomerate The board said, referring to the decline of Adani Group stocks following allegations of stock manipulation by Hindenburg Research. Further, in all specific entity-related matters, the market regulator said that if any information comes to its notice, then as per extant policies, the same is examined and after due examination, appropriate action is taken. It further said that SEBI has consistently followed the approach on entity-level issues and would continue to do so in the future as well. SEBI said that the Indian financial market, as represented by Sensex and Nifty, has demonstrated the ongoing stability and is continuing to function in a transparent, fair and efficient manner. Guru Ravidas Jayanti is being observed today. The day commemorates the birth of famous Bhakti movement saint and the great poet, social reformer and spiritual figure. This year marks the 646th anniversary of Guru Ravidas. President Draupadi Murmu has greeted fellow citizens on the eve of Sant Guru Ravidas' Jayanti. In her message, the President has said, and I quote, Sant Guru Ravidas was a great social reformer and messenger of peace, love and brotherhood. He worked tirelessly to remove caste and religion-based discrimination. He worked for upliftment of the downtrodden and he also wrote many compositions on different social issues. His life is a unique example of sacrifice and penance. He considered service to humanity as service to God. She also urged the citizens to follow his teachings and move forward with the overall aim of public well-being. On to international updates now. The US has shot down a giant Chinese balloon that it says has been spying on key military sites across America. While Saturday's shoot-down concludes the military dimension to the spying saga, Biden is likely to continue to face intense political scrutiny from Republican opponents in Congress who argue that he failed to act quickly enough. The balloon first entered U.S. airspace in Alaska on January 28th before moving into Canadian airspace. Once it crossed over the U.S. land, it did not return to the open waters, making a shoot-down difficult.
When I was briefed on the balloon, I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was when we got over water outside within 12-mile limit. They successfully took it down, and I want to compliment our aviators who did it, and we'll have more to report on this a little later.
A powerful Arctic blast swept into the U.S. northeast on Saturday, pushing temperatures to previously low levels across the region, including New Hampshire's Mount Washington, where the wind chill dropped to 105 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. The U.S. National Weather Service, in fact, called the temperatures life-enduring and life-endangering as well. In New Hampshire's Mount Washington State Park, home to the highest and coldest peak in the northeast, temperatures were expected to fall to a record low of -50 degrees Fahrenheit, with a wind chill that could drop to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said on Saturday that the situation on the front lines in the east of the country was getting tougher and that Russia was throwing more and more troops into the battle. As Russian forces are slowly gaining ground in the Donbas region and encircling the city of Bakhmut, north of Donetsk, and battling to take control of a nearby road, which is a major supply route for Ukrainian forces. Zelenskyy in a video address also said that it is very difficult now in Bakhmut, Vlodar, Lyman, and also other directions. During the same address, he also praised the efforts of his team, who managed to return 1,762 Ukrainian men and women from Russian captivity.
In the course of 346 days of this war, I often had to say that the situation at the front was tough and that the situation was becoming tougher. It is once again that time, the time when the invader is putting more and more of his forces into breaking down our defense. It is very difficult now in Bakhmut, Volodar, Lyman and other directions. We are working to synchronize our sanctions decisions with the jurisdiction of our partners. Enemies of the free world have no right to use the free world for the sake of their interests.
China's government called for international help on Saturday to fight the devastating forest fires ravaging thousands of hectares and killing more than a dozen people. Meanwhile, Interior Minister Carolina Toja said that they are asking for support from Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay after reporting 22 deaths from the severe forest fires that have destroyed some 40,000 hectares in central and southern Chile. Dozens of wildfires blazing through Chile caused the government to extend an emergency order on Friday as a scorching summer heat wave complicates efforts to control fires, whereas National Forestry Agency (CONAF) reported on Saturday that 80 of 231 total wildfires are being actively battled, while 151 of them are under control. About a couple of dozen fires have been designated at the red alert level.
To the Foreign Minister, we have requested international support. We have spoken to several governments to reinforce the effort that were previously being made with the companies that provide the service. This request includes the search for equipments to bolster the fleet that can reinforce the work on the ground.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe on Saturday, in an address to the nation to mark the 75th Independence Day, said that Sri Lanka is completing the prerequisites to unlock a 2.9 billion bailout from the IMF and expects rapid approval from the global lender. As Sri Lanka, caught in the worst financial crisis since independence, has seen steep inflation, a currency plunge and its economy slid into recession, the island of 22 million people has also been hit by high taxes, a shortage of essential commodities, items such as medicines and fuel, and also daily power cuts. Sri Lanka is currently focused on getting financing assurances from key bilateral creditors China and Japan. India, the third major creditor, agreed to support debt restructuring last month. Sri Lanka's central bank estimates an economic turnaround in the second half of 2023 and inflation to reach single digits by the end of this year. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak joined the meeting between India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and his British counterpart Tim Barrow in London, the High Commission of India said. Ajit Doval's visit to London comes right after he met his US counterpart Jake Sullivan in Washington on Tuesday. The High Commission of India in London in a tweet said, and I quote, "A special gesture by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to join for a while India-UK NSA dialogue between Sir Tim Barrow and Mr. Doval at Cabinet Office. Deeply value PM's assurances of his government's full support to deepen strategic partnership in trade, defence, science and technology. Look forward to visit of Sir Tim to India soon." On to sports now. India will face Bangladesh today in the SAFF Under-20 Women's Championship, wherein Team India will try to maintain the winning streak after defeating Bhutan in the previous match. It will be intense encounter against Bangladesh, says India Under-17 women coach Maimol Rocky coached Indian team ready for Bangladesh showdown. The fifth edition of the Khelo India Youth Games 2022 is underway in Madhya Pradesh. Our next report brings to you more details about the sixth day of the event.
After a spectacular performance from players on day 5 of the Khelo India Games, the action shifted to day 6. Madhya Pradesh Malika won the gold medal in the 45 to 48 kg weight category. Malika defeated Bhavna of Haryana in the gold medal match. Manipur's MJ Singh won the gold medal in the 48 to 50 kg weight category. In the final, MJ Singh was successful in defeating Maharashtra Usman in the final. Delhi's Yashika Tokas won the gold medal in the 54 to 57 kg weight category in girls. Yashika defeated Anamika of Uttar Pradesh to claim the gold. In basketball, Punjab girls performed brilliantly and succeeded in winning the gold medal. In the title match against Chandigarh, Punjab took early lead and managed to sustain that, ultimately beating Chandigarh 73-56. On the other hand, in boys category, Rajasthan boys won gold medal defeating Tamil Nadu boys by a margin of 5 points, 90-85. Gaurav Kumar and Mukesh Shukla's report, DD India, Madhya Pradesh.
That's it in this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.